Hi everybody, good afternoon. I made a bit of a hi Laura, thanks for joining me. Try and get myself sorted out here. I made a bit of a boo-boo. I put it up on Twitter slightly early that I was going live in 30 minutes, forgetting that I'd said it was going to be 2:15 because I thought, well, why don't we do hi Laura, it's great to see you too, thanks for all the lovely hearts. I thought it'd be good to do it at 2:15 rather than at 2 o'clock, and then you've got less chance of potentially clashing with other people who might be out there. I'm not sure if anybody else is going to pop along. For anybody who's watching on replay who doesn't know me, I'm Kat Cripps, the company's Wildcat Solutions, and I help businesses with all their sales and marketing challenges. Yeah, well, I thought it was good thinking. Other people, well, I saw other people going live at 2 o'clock, but it meant that 1:30 I was thinking, oh gosh, I need to get my 30-minute advert up. I help businesses with sales and marketing challenges just by helping them to understand what some of the processes are. And it's become really obvious. Hi Grant, how are you this lovely, bright, sunny Monday afternoon? It's absolutely horrible here. It's been so lovely recently. The weather's been absolutely gorgeous in Scotland. And we've had a summer at last for the last 2 weeks, and now it's cold, wet and windy, which is not so nice. So I'm on here this afternoon to talk to people about, I've said 7 numbers you should know. There's lots of numbers you should know, but you've got to start somewhere. And so I thought we'd start with some which may be very easy. I'm sure they're going to be very easy for lots of people to come up with these numbers. I'm also convinced that for a lot of businesses, I work with a lot of businesses, pouring down here, I know, yeah. It's not sunny Broughty Ferry today then, eh? Hi Sam, how are you? A lot of people are able to get their fingers on their business and understand their numbers, and they're the ones, they're the ones that I love working with. The ones that really don't know where to start, it's a bit more of a challenge. So some of this is a little bit of an experiment actually, perhaps challenging some of my perceptions. I think that a lot of businesses do find it difficult to understand some of these numbers, and others don't. And so I'm kind of putting this out there, and we'll see how it goes. Fishing doon there, yeah, not so sunny Edinburgh either. I think Pishing Doon is there's going to be the state for the rest of this week. So I've got lights on and everything. It's horrible. Anyway, I'm going to start with number 1. Now this shouldn't be too much of a challenge for most people. What a challenge it afterwards it might be. It's cold in Lancashire, is it? Not raining though yet, Sam? No. Pishing Doon is a good number's not a strong point. Yep, exactly. And this isn't about accounting numbers. This is about numbers that, Laura, I think will resonate with you and will have you nodding and smiling. So not yet. I think it's coming, Sam. I think it's coming. No, I don't think you can say it any clearer. Right, so question 1. And if anybody can answer this, I should get out my gummy tennis balls and throw them at you. Somebody sent me some chewing gum from Stockholm, which is tennis balls. Now, some of you know me and know that I am, see these? Know that I'm a massive, massive tennis fan. And so somebody sent me these gummy tennis balls. So a gummy tennis ball for the person who can tell me how many customers you have. Well, quiet there. And the reason that that's not necessarily an easy question to answer is that quite often I go in and I do a lot of work with people and their data, and they might have, for example, they might have Sage accounts and they might have been operating for a number of years, and within their accounting system they might have 200, 300, 5,000 clients. Absolutely, yeah. You never know who's listening here. You never know if you've got 5,000 clients listed in your, or customers listed in your accounting system, how many of them are actually real live customers? So has anyone got any number they want to give us? Apart from, that's true, you don't know who's listening. And it depends to you what a customer actually is. But let's assuming that it's customers that you deliver services, products or services to, and you send invoices to. So again, it's not just everyone you've ever invoiced in the world. It's people you would actually consider to be live customers. 300 in the system and 27 live. That's about typical, Sam. Yeah, and probably it's exactly the same. That's about exactly my numbers as well. I've probably got between 300 and 400 customers that I've ever invoiced for something, and some of them it might have been something relatively small and insignificant, but probably around about 20 that I could consider to be live customers. Okay, so that's number one, for people to go away and think about. Kettle boiling. Well, make me a cup of tea then, because I've finished mine, and I thought, well, I'll go and get another one, and then I remembered that Laura has all these challenges managing glasses of water and scopes. So I thought I wouldn't try and manage a sort of full hot cup of tea in a scope. I thought that might be asking too much. Milk, no sugar for me too. Yeah, great, thank you. Right, for Laura's benefit and for anybody else, I'm asking people how many customers they have. It's milk, no sugar for everyone, I think, thanks. And I'm challenging people to think about not just the number of people that might be sitting in their accounting system if they've been trading for a number of years, but actually thinking about the number of live customers that they actually do business with on a regular basis. So that was question one. And Sam and I came up with very similar sorts of numbers, about 300 or so, 300 to 400 maybe, that I have. Wildcat Solutions has been trading 7.5 years. And I had a business before that, and I brought quite a lot of the customers with me. But at any one time, thanks for inviting followers, Sam, that's great. Files for live and inactive. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you can then put them away because they're potentials for the future if they're lapsed customers. Thanks, Grant. Thanks for inviting followers. Okay, so question number one is just what do you think about how many customers you've got and what is a customer? Number two is what's your top selling product or service? Now, obviously, this depends very much on what sort of business you have, but and what time relevant is what time period, time frame is relevant to your business. So, it might be per month. You might have a seasonal business. So the idea is to have a think about what is the top selling product. Now, you can think of that in terms of number of units, or you can think of it in terms of just pure hard cash. I've got a worksheet to send out to people at the end if they're interested, and it does actually talk more about the cash, but it might be just the number of units sold. So have a think about what your top selling product or service is. Now, this probably isn't going to be too much of a challenge for too many people, but when we get down to a little bit further on, then it becomes a little bit more interesting. So, can you name your top selling product or services? That's a really good answer. You're your top selling product. Yeah, and you see, a lot of the people that are on this scope, we're all doing similar sorts of work, and only a few products and only a few services. But if you can imagine, there's a lot of people out there who might be selling products rather than services. Good old widgets they can actually sell, and they may have a top selling product. The next question is, how often do your customers or your clients buy from you? So again, range of programs, yeah, that's it. So sometimes it might be a one-day workshop, or it might be a longer program of work or whatever. And I missed that one under, because I was busy thinking about something else. It's great, this multitasking on Periscope, isn't it? When you've got to think about keep yourself on track with what you're trying to say, and read what's on the screen and think of what you're saying to that, and then keep track of the next comment as well. So if I missed somebody's comment there, I'm sorry about that. Where was I? Right. So how often do your customers buy from you? Do they buy weekly? Your knowledge is your top selling product. Exactly. Yeah. But sometimes people productize their offerings. Goldfish ring. Yeah. Is that you or me? Probably a bit of both. Yeah. Sometimes, we all try and productize what we sell, or dollarize or poundize. It's almost easier to say dollarize than poundize, isn't it? It kind of works a bit better. Both. Yes, I think it probably is as well. Yeah, so think about how often your customers actually do make a purchase from you. And again, it's different for people who are consultants, perhaps, to people who are selling products. I have some clients who sell things like print cartridges, and so that's a relatively frequent purchase, and they can have an offering where what they're doing is engaging with them on a weekly basis through telesales or telemarketing to get the next order in. Monetize, yeah. And it's not all about the money. We know that. It's not all about the money. It's about engagement. But some of this, when it comes down to it, we do need the good hard cash as well. And then the next question is, what's the average value of a sale? And I've been attending a lot of Horoscopes, and it's got me thinking about a lot of things. And one of the things it got me thinking about is how you then deliver, or tell them how you're going to deliver return on investment. And it's a really good question to get a client to answer. So if they know the average value of a sale, some people are over monetizing. It's getting boring now. Yeah, the great thing about Sam is you can always rely on her just to tell you exactly how it is, which is great, which I love. Fantastic. Yeah, so the average value of a sale, and that's also about, let's think about if we are delivering, if we are delivering services or products back to a client, if they know their, oh man, yeah, I can't remember your real name, Ravel. I'm sorry, I have seen you before, but I'm sorry, I can't remember your real name. It's not about the money, no. And I saw the great, wonderful Mr. Alex Pettit scoping last night, and I just didn't even bother looking at it. It is Ravel. Oh, right, okay. Well, that's good. For some reason, I thought you had I thought you had another name. Talking about to monetize your scopes. Oh dear. Anyway, yeah, but at some point we do actually have to have money changing hands. It'd be lovely. I'd love to be able to work for nothing. The whole make money on scopes, yeah, absolutely. It's not what it's about at all. Interestingly enough, as a digression, I mean, I've been on Periscope now for, I think, coming up to 3 months. Bloody gurus. Yes. And I think probably about the second scope I ever watched was somebody talking about, how you could make money out of Periscope, and I was slightly dumbfounded, because even at that early stage of watching, we need all sorts of lovely things. Yes. I need money to go to tennis tournaments. That's what I want money for. Where was I? Yes. So even at the on my second scope, I was thinking, surely that's not what Periscope's about. But anyway, so for you guys that are on here now, but maybe for some people who might be, well, exactly, platform is far too new, but I guess what they're thinking about as well is how really at that early stage, people were starting to talk about getting sponsors. And so, hi, this is brought to you this afternoon by Starbucks. Hey, I've just given them a free advert, haven't they? Great place to add value, leading to sales. Exactly. And just about, engagement. And I know all the people on here right now all believe in this. So all in New York, yeah. Yeah, I was on that blab you did last week, which was fascinating. In the end, I had to go and do other things, otherwise I would still be there, I think. About New York, sounded absolutely amazing. Iron Brew, yeah, that's a good one. I've got an Iron Brew towel somewhere. I could hang it up behind me. I went to the. Anybody ever been to the Iron Brew factory? Fantastic, best day out ever. Absolutely, seriously, it is a really good day out. But then I just love visiting manufacturers and manufacturing sites. It's one of my kind of strange little things. You must go. It's only open unless you get invited by Mr. Barr. It's only a brilliant trip. What was it? Yeah, really interesting. I love factories too. Yeah, I'll come back to New York in a second, Sam. We're talking Iron Brew now. Do you drink? Have you ever drunk Iron Brew, Sam? The Iron Brew Factory is only open, unless you're a friend of Mr. Barr, the Iron Brew Factory is only open one day a year on Doors Open Day, so I think you've probably just missed it for this year. And what you have to do is you apply, I think in writing, it makes you burp. Yeah. Oh, Quaker Oats. I want to go to Quaker Oats. I want to go to the Tunnocks Factory next, actually. Perhaps we could have a Periscope outing to the Tunnocks Factory. That would be good. And we could do a scope. Yeah, so you apply, I think, in writing. Hi Diana. I think I remember applying in writing to bars and for their Doors Open Day, and you need to get a piece of paper that says you're allowed in, and they bring you in sort of half-hour time slots. But yeah, still absolutely fantastic. And yes, Tunnocks, and anybody that manufactures anything, absolutely love it. Right, oh, new people joining, fantastic, lovely to see you, that's great to see you this afternoon. So, where are we? I'll do a quick recap then. So, no, you don't need to sign non-disclosure because they don't take you down the end. Hi, they don't take you down, we're talking about the Iron Brew Factory in Cumbernauld. Well, you've missed the tour of the Iron Brew Factory, yes. Don't ask, why do scopes do this? Scopes, where the scope goes, nobody knows. Iron Brew, yeah, they don't take you, answering Laura's question, they don't take you down to the end of the factory where they mix up the actual brew. They take you to the gantry, you stand in a gantry and watch the bottles sort of shuggling by, another great Scottish word, being labelled and having the caps put on them. Which I know sounds absolutely fascinating, but I love it. I love it. And then they take you to, and those of you who've been around, I'll come back to that again then. Then they take you in a bus up to the big, you know, the big blue tower you can see from the M80. Ah, Tennant's tour. Yeah, that's even better than Tunnocks. I've been around a few distilleries. The Deanston Distillery in Doon is not far from me, so I've been around that. They take you around to that enormous tower, which is a kind of robot-controlled sort of vertical warehouse. Again, absolutely fantastic. Loved it. And you just stand there for hours watching all these pallets arriving and going. A big waiting list for the Tunnocks tour. Yeah, probably. Shuggling along, absolutely. I was just saying that... as far as I know, the Iron Brew Factory is only open on Doors Open Day, which is how I got in about 4 or 5 years ago. Pishing Doon, still Pishing Doon, yeah. Is that the name of it? I think that should be the name of your house, Grant. Right, I'm going to do a quick recap for those people who have just joined, which is lovely to see some new people on there. So, now question number one, the first number you should know is how many customers you have. And if you want to sort of pop back and have a quick look on replay later on, we talked about what a customer is. Number two, the value of your top selling product or the number of units sold, just so we get a handle on who all the customers are and what they're buying. How often do your customers buy from you? So is that weekly? That's not really quite a number, but it sort of is. So is it weekly, monthly, ad hoc, whatever it is? And number four was the average value of a sale. So, which I think I'd only just sort of started, and then we leapt into talking about Periscope Summit in New York and Iron Brew and Tonics and all the rest of it. The average value of a sale, oh, that's out because we started talking about monetizing everything. Average value of a sale, what's the average invoice value or transaction value in pounds? How easy is it for you to calculate that? You'd be surprised how many businesses really don't have access to their own data. As in they do, but they don't know how. And so sometimes some of these questions are actually quite difficult for them to answer. I think very small businesses do tend to be very close to their numbers, but it's the kind of the next sort of size up where they let a bookkeeper come in and do quite a lot of the accountancy work, but don't necessarily have any idea themselves of what some of these numbers are. So that was my challenge going back to the start. Question number 5, and if you remember question 2, what's your top selling product? Question number 5 is, what's your most profitable product or service? So I've worked with clients in the past where they are selling a whole range of products and services, and they might have something which is the top seller, but actually it's not making them any money. And they're not also actually aware of that. Now, the conversation I've had with them in the past is that's not necessarily a problem. I wouldn't be happy if their top selling product wasn't making them any money, but I've got a client who sells a whole wide range of products and services. It's retail, and they have, they sell things like pet food alongside gifts, alongside a farm shop, alongside plants and all that kind of thing. And they like to, they sell, those enormous bags of dog kibble stuff. And the argument is, which is probably a very good argument, that if people come in to buy their big sack of dog kibble, then they might stay and buy something else. My argument is that that's absolutely fine, but I'd like them to actually know and understand the numbers. I'd like them to know that if they're selling the dog kibble at a loss, that's fine. That's actually a conscious commercial decision that they've made to get people in the door so that they go through into another department perhaps, or preferably they have to walk, as long as the add-on sale is relevant, indeed, yeah, to part them with more cash, maybe for more profitable items. But it's just getting that clarity and that understanding, because I think an awful lot of people just don't have that clarity. They kind of start selling all sorts of things. I think retail's probably a classic example of that, where we better have this and we better have this, and somebody might come in for that. But it's just having that clarity that I want. So many people sell rubbish for profit. Yeah, exactly. I wonder why it doesn't sell. Yeah. It's having that understanding. What are your top selling products? What money do they make, and what do customers actually want to buy? And it's then getting that balance, isn't it? The right products for the right people that are going to make you some money. So, and again, it's getting, the questions 4 and questions 5 are for some businesses where they're maybe not quite got their hands on the tiller in terms of the finances of the business. They don't always know. So sometimes they have to take a step back and actually ask some of those questions. A lot of businesses just hand stuff over to their accountant, and they get a number at the end of the year, which was their profit. And that quite often can be months after the end of the actual financial year as well. So people need to be a bit closer to their numbers. Right, cracking on. And I have got notes here because otherwise I forget. Just a couple of slightly different numbers. Who's in your sales pipeline? If I could get my teeth round this. How many leads and prospects do you have? Do you maintain a list? Can you actually identify and differentiate between a lead and a prospect? Do you know the difference between a lead and a prospect? Is a prospect somebody you've actually engaged with, sent a proposal to, whoever? So, when are you going to be following up with them? And then how long does it take? Number 7 is, how long does it take you to close a sale? So the point of this, so that's, how many days, weeks, months, years. I've had one that took me 4.5 years to close, which is for all sorts of reasons, but at least I closed it in the end. How many days or weeks or months does it take between initial contact with a new prospect and actually getting the order? A 1 in 20 conversion rate. Yeah, possibly, yes. But of course, as you know, and most of the when I'm with clients, I like to get them to think about the difference between a lead and a prospect. In general, a lead is a bit of they're not qualified, or they're only partly qualified. To me, a lead is somebody that I may have had a referral to, and I haven't had many don't want to pay exactly or appreciate the value. Sam, yeah, yes, exactly. That's exactly my challenge as well. So they don't understand the value of what you can deliver to their business. So to me, and I always say to clients, it's your business and it's what it means to you. A lead is someone that you've barely made contact with and barely qualified, in my mind anyway. And a prospect is somebody that you're actually sort of a bit more engaged with, and you're possibly sent them a quotation and you're much further down the line with. You can also have what are called suspects, and suspects might be people that you want to target. So some people call them targets, some people call them suspects. How many of those have you got on your lists? And then really, hi Sam, back again. The next question is why should you want to know all these numbers? It's not just an academic exercise, is it? Doing all the numbers. It kicks you out. Yeah, well, it wasn't me. It's not. It's my definition. I just want to make that absolutely clear. And I do have different conversations with different clients about what a lead or a prospect or a qualified lead is to them. I just want you to have some sort of clarity about it yourself. I think that, and it's all to do with the sales funnel, the scary old sales funnel. They come in the top and they whiz around and they're leads, and then as they come nearer to being engaged as customers, maybe they're prospects. But that's really just my definition, and if you have a different definition, that's absolutely fine. It's just having that clarity again. It's what does it mean to you? It's a bit like number one when we're talking about what's a customer. Depending on your business, you might have 40, 50, 500, 1,000 people on your books, but how many of them can you actually call a customer because they're actively engaged in buying from you at this moment in time? So the point of all these numbers is just to get people thinking a bit more about where they are in their business now, so that they can take themselves a bit further on in the business. If you know who your customers are, what your customer looks like, think about what other attributes of a customer are relevant. Do you work best with customers in a particular industry or sector? Do you work best with a particular size of business? It's not always about working with the big guys, partly because they can probably take you longer to pay. Thank you. I think I might follow you back as well, but I will check on that in Catch later on. But thank you very much for following me. What I want to do now, for anybody that's interested, I've actually got that sort of all written down in a worksheet. So if I can bring up here, and then I'm going to do the whole shifted a lot in the clients I like to work through experience of value. Yes, that's it. It's knowing who your current good customers are, the profitable customers, and to be fair, it's not always, we do have to work with people we want to work with as well, and that's always very important. And I would never say to anyone that you should only work with customers in a particular segment because that's what they look like. You've got to like working with them as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to next time I'm going to get my Iron Brew towel out and hang it over the back of my chair or something so you can see it. I'm going to give you a link to my website, and there's somewhere where you can fill in a box, and I can send you the worksheet if you want to take this a bit further. So I'm going to try and do this. I hate doing this. There we go. Right, can you actually see that? So it's Wildcat Solutions, all one word, .co.uk, and it's send hyphen worksheet. And that will take you to a page where you can stick in your email address. Why does it never... There we go. You can stick in your email address and I'll send you the worksheet, which kind of explains some of this stuff in a little bit more detail. Thank you. Thanks very much for putting that up. That's very kind of you. If you've got any questions, then tweet me at... Thank you. Tweet me at @catcrips, CATCRIPPS on Twitter, and if you've got any questions, that would be fantastic. Thanks very much for everybody who's joined me this afternoon. I actually really enjoyed this scope. It's been quite focused, and I've had lots of nice feedback and questions and comments from people, which makes it so much easier as well, doesn't it? So rather than thinking you're sitting there chatting at people who haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about. So thank you very much everybody for joining me this afternoon. Oh, hi Laura, I'm just signing off. Thank you, thanks Sam. Laura, I've just put up a link on the website, better than talking to ourselves. Well, you know, sometimes that's where you get the most sense though, isn't it? Oh, sorry. I know, I do as well. I keep losing scopes as well these days. I don't know, do you think Periscope's just getting more used, and that's the problem, that there's too many people trying to use it? Yeah, so I put up, and it's up there. I'll just go back again one more time. There's my gummies again. So it's wildcatsolutions.co.uk/send-worksheet. There we go. And there's my gummies again. I think they're my gummy tennis balls. Chewing gum tennis balls. Hey Laura. My chewing gum tennis balls that somebody sent me because I'm a massive tennis fan. I've only ever eaten one because they're quite astringently lemony. So thanks very much everybody for joining. It's been fab to have you along. Thanks for all the very constructive and helpful comments. Genuinely, really loved that. And thank you for all the hearts as well. That's been brilliant. And I will be developing this to take it a little bit further as well. So I will be thinking about how I can actually take this a little bit further in on Periscope, and also if people want to take it offline as well. So as I say, yeah, great to meet you too. As I say, I think I do follow you already. If not, I will make sure that I do. And have a great rest of the afternoon. It's actually brightening up here, as you can see by the sort of slight light on the side of my head now, which wasn't there before. So cheers everybody, thanks very much, and I will now do my usual tappy thing of trying to swish off the scope and failing dismally, so you'll have to put up with me making odd faces for a minute while I try and do that.